The head of state harmonizes retirement age in Cameroon. Categories D and C at 55 and categories B and A at 60. This is contained in a decree signed today. Reactions of beneficiaries in this newscast. And those are our lone headline. Good evening and thanks for joining us on this edition of the 7:30 News. I am Gladys Tata.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
And as you heard in the lone headline, categories A, B and C civil servants benefit from a presidential decree that harmonizes their retirement ages at 55 and 60. Today's decree of the head of state takes effect from January 1, 2020. Killian Dandifon reports on the technical implications and advantages of the presidential text.
The presidential text harmonizing the retirement age of civil servants concerns 4 categories.
Those of the category A and B go at 60 years, and those of category C and D at 55 years.
The fate of those to retire on December 31, 2020 is sealed.
This decree concerns those who were supposed to go on retirement as from the 1st of January. It does not concern those who are supposed to go on retirement today or on the 31st of December.
The retirement age harmonization decree has several advantages.
It will reduce the deficit of pension because actually it is those who are working who contribute for the pension of those who are on retirement. This measure wants to promote performance and efficiency in our administration. When they go on retirement at 55, they are at the top of experience and performance. Most of the contract workers were going on retirement without working 15 years, or according to the regulation, you have to work 15 years to have a pension.
It is a source of joy to many families.
President B, as you heard earlier on, has today signed a decree harmonizing the retirement age for civil servants. I am joined in this newscast by Ashu Nyengti. Good evening, Ashu.
Good evening, Gladys. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ashu. And what can explain the need to harmonize the retirement age?
Well, Gladys, before I get into your question, I think I should explain, first of all, what harmonization is all about. Harmonizing the retirement age for civil servants means that all civil servants, irrespective of their status, irrespective of their professional corps or grade, go on retirement at a certain age which is stated in the decree signed by the President of the Republic, in this case 60 years for category A and B and 55 years for category C and D. It was not the case before, so that is the introduction that has been made.
Well, Ashu, I don't know, will this move necessarily increase the output of workers?
Well, before we get into that, I think, back to the question you asked, first of all, there are a number of aspects which are concerned to say that it will increase their morale, it will increase the morale of civil servants. They will no longer be thinking about bread and butter issues. They will concentrate on their job. It wasn't the case before because those who were near retirement didn't have the mind to apply to their jobs. But now that their ages at work has been increased, they will concentrate because they know they still have many more years to give. So therefore, the output in the civil service is going to increase. Beyond that, Gladys, you know that many of those who went on retirement did so at a ripe age when they were already experienced on the job, when they could give their all on the job and suddenly they went on retirement. So the government lost a lot. Today, these people will no longer go on retirement at that age. They will spend additional years, 5, 10 years for some of them. Government is going to benefit necessarily from their expertise and their knowledge. Therefore, on that score, the output in the civil service will increase.
And this measure can rightly be considered, Ashu, as an end of a year gift from President Paul Biya.
You have taken the winds out of my sail, Gladys. President Paul Biya is the father of a nation. It is a father who has hearkened and listened to the cries of his children. You know, for so many years, civil servants have been expressing the wish that the retirement ages should be harmonized. President Paul Biya is not only Joseph who interprets dreams, but he has realized the dream. So it is a dream come true for the civil servants today. Thanks to President Paul Biya, they must give kudos to him because he made this solemn promise on the 6th of November 2018 when he was making his inaugural oath at the National Assembly. President Paul Biya said he would do everything to improve the working conditions of civil servants. He reiterated this promise on the 31st of December 2018, and today he has realized this promise. It shows that President Paul Biya is a man of his words. He has walked his talk. And let me add something, Gladys, about the timing. It is coming when we are ebbing out of 2020, which was a particularly difficult year for workers, for civil servants, especially in this country, and moving into 2021, which everybody expects will bring a lot of hope and joy. There couldn't have been any better timing for this presidential measure, and we can say that 22% of civil servants are concerned. That is 2 in every 10 civil servants are concerned by this move. That is quite huge. It is an end-of-year cake, I must say. I spoke to some civil servants before coming into this studio. Many of them are very happy. They are very elated with President Paul Biya, and of course, they didn't fail to transmit their love, their support to the head of state, and to him, they wish many more years at the helm of state. Remember, in July this year, President Paul Biya increased the retirement age for workers in the health sector. Today is a case of all civil servants, category A, B, C, and G. Their ages have been harmonized, 60 for the first category, the first 2 categories, and 55 for the last 2 categories. This is quite huge. President Paul Biya deserves all the kudos because it is all thanks to what we call his proactive leadership.
Thank you very much, Ashin Yengti, and I'm sure you'll be back tomorrow when the head of state makes his speech, his end-of-year speech to the nation.
We hope so, by the grace of God.
Thank you very much for being here.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Prime Minister Joseph John Gutte and members of his cabinet have today reviewed the implementation of major energy projects in Cameroon and ongoing efforts to improve the development of irrigable fields in the country. This was during the cabinet meeting for the month of December, which held today through video conferencing. The last cabinet meeting was also marked by a strongly worded opening statement in which Joseph John Gutte invited ministers to show more commitment in piloting development projects initiated by the head of state. Star Building correspondent Christian Che Atam tells us more.
The opening remarks of Prime Minister Joseph John Gutte at the cabinet meeting of December was a direct call to members of government to show more commitment and enthusiasm in piloting the implementation of projects initiated by the head of state in the domains of water and electricity supply, road construction, urban development, and economic empowerment, amongst others. Deliberations focused on the major energy projects in Cameroon with the view of accelerating their completion.
You have many projects in the electricity sector, and with the commissioning of Mevele dams, you are able to inject about 90 megawatt in our network.
The current situation of COVID-19 was also discussed during this last cabinet meeting for 2020.
The pandemic is under control now. We have the rate of remission about 95%. but we have to remain vigilant. We have to strictly respect the barrier measures.
Prime Minister Joseph Dion-Gute has given instructions for an acceleration of the payment of compensation to victims of energy projects, the equipping of the Yagua rice production scheme, SEMRI, and the development of fish farming in Cameroon, amongst others.
Construction works on the Kribi-Lulabe section of the double carriage roads, as well as its connecting roads, are near finish and will soon be open to circulation. Hopes were rekindled today in Kribi by the signing of a public-private partnership contract leasing the state of Cameroon with the Chinese company CHEC for the completion of the project, which is at 89% already realized. Details with Snowcell Ano Ibie.
The Minister of Public Works signed the contract on behalf of the Cameroon government in the presence of the Minister of Finance, while the General Manager of the China Harbour Engineering Company endorsed it for the Chinese side. In a few months, the Kribi-Lulabe will be the first section of the double carriage road to be open to circulation.
What remains is to equip the highway, so everybody who passing through the highway will pay something. The private operator who brought his financial investment will be able to remunerate himself, and part of the resources will be used for the reimbursement of the indebtedness.
The success of this method of financing is promising.
We have to take advantage of this model and think that this is what we are going to do with the other infrastructures that we are going to build in this country.
The Kribi-Lulabe section of the double carriage road is on a 2x2 lane extensible to 3, with modern toll booths and a reference speed of 110 kilometers per hour.
We come back to the head of state's decree today, which was signed, harmonizing retirement age for civil servants. Categories A and B workers will, as from January 21, go on retirement at the age of 60, while categories C and D workers now retire at 55. The news has been received with joy for civil servants, most of whom have actually requested for this to happen. Beatrice Lasamba in the following report presents their reactions.
It was the wish of most, if not all, civil servants to see their retirement age extended. Wish granted. The head of state's decree harmonizing the retirement age for category A and B workers at 60 years and category C and D workers 55 is highly welcome, they say.
At least it might help me to do an additional thing in my career. So I'm so pleased, I'm so happy.
And although they were in expectation of this, no one knew the hour. That it happened on the eve of a new year makes it all the more a pleasant surprise.
We thank the head of state for what he has done for them, because it was something that was like a dream, but with what he has given as a decree, it has been a reality.
Civil servants say they were uncomfortable with what they call disparities in the retirement age. The decree harmonizes the retirement age for all professions.
They had two advantages over us. They had the higher salary and they were going at 60. Those who low salary were going at 55, sometimes 50. It was an injustice.
And going on retirement 5 years later for some is another chance to better prepare for a sound retirement.
Plan my retirement and do my work better.
A perfect New Year's gift, they say. State workers.
The year 2020 and all its ordeal is almost over. Cameroonians are preparing the crossover in several ways, which some will be spending in its restaurants. Others are planning to bid a not too hot fun farewell in church to make sure 2020 starts off in good spirit. Beatrice Ngum scouted some restaurants and says the menus are special. Here's our report.
It's often said that how you begin your January 1 sets the tone for the rest of the year. Whatever way you want to start 2021, the day is yours, and this Yaoundé city dweller has understood it.
2020 has been a very bad year. COVID-19, lost dear ones. In the morning, I have to take the whole family to church so we can give thanks and pray for blessings.
While others will begin the year with God, surrounded by family, some might take the opportunity to do something outdoorsy. And this restaurant that runs a piano bar has plans for them.
We have invited an orchestra with some surprise guest stars. Customers will get what they cannot get elsewhere here.
In this other restaurant, New Year's Day dinner puts family reunion.
People have to be around a good meal, to spend family time.
And for others, it's all about food and fun.
We have some roasted chicken, other light things, but the main menu on New Year Day is achou.
All plans to eat healthy in 2021 can wait until after New Year. The fete in restaurants, like in homes, has been adapted to suit the taste of consumers.
The General Delegation for National Security has reinforced traffic control in towns and cities of the country during this period of end-of-year festivities. Ewana Ipole was on the major road junctions in Yaoundé with officials of the Central Traffic Police Unit to take stock of the work of traffic police on the field. Here is what he brought back.
In the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, the Central Regional Traffic Police Control Unit is on guard at 4 sectors of the city. The traffic police officers are at the major road junctions, notably at the Central Post Office, Olezwa, Koron, Vogbi, Tongolo, and Avenue Fuda, among others, to ease the circulation of vehicles and pedestrians.
It's because of end-of-year festivities that there's too much traffic. The charges that we are using now, we are always there at early, and then we close late to make people to circulate without any problem. Some of the difficulties that we have is too much speed. Some of them drink and drive, some of them talk over phone.
The move by the General Delegation for National Security is also helping to cut road accidents, as the main streets of the city are busy with intense traffic caused by taxi drivers and private car owners.
Some 16 retiring workers of the Prime Minister's office have been encouraged to put their know-how to private initiatives and to development of their families and communities. This was during a farewell ceremony at the Prime Minister's office to salute the input of the retirees. Christian Che Atam says the ceremony was chaired by the Deputy Secretary General at the Prime Minister's office, Pascal Nguye Kante.
The 16 retiring workers have served the administration for close to 30 years. The farewell ceremony was meant to honor their devotion and sacrifices at the service of the administration. The Deputy Secretary General at the PM's office, Pascal Nguye Kante, exhorted them to be proud of their contribution to nation building.
I've spent 31 years in the public service, and I've learned a lot. And I've applied what I've learned in school, technically, and I've had opportunity to work at the highest administration of the country.
To the retiring workers, the time has also come to catch some rest while pursuing other goals.
My new plan, the first step is resting. The second step is to transfer my knowledge to youth.
The representative of the retiring workers said every human endeavor has a beginning and an end. For many of the retiring workers, it is the end of a story, but also the dawn of a new day.
The National Advertising Council is holding its first ordinary and extraordinary session in Yaoundé. The Board of Directors began exchanging on the rules and regulations pertaining to adverts on skin bleaching. Presided over by the Minister of Communication, Rene Emmanuel Sadi, the session will also review the agreements of advertising agencies, as you tell us, Cynthia Saptala.
Exaggerated advertisements, as was the case some months ago on skin bleaching, is one of the issues tabled at the first session of the National Advertising Council in Yaoundé. With the laws on publicity being clear as to the messages sold on products that affect the health, the Council deliberated on what is acceptable when it comes to advertisement on skin bleaching products. One of the resolutions presented was the setup of a supervisory organ in regional and divisional delegations who must affix a visa on all adverts before dissemination to the public. Also during the session, the licenses of advertising companies were reviewed, as well as the budget for the Council in the coming year.
14.3 billion CFA francs is the budget that has been adopted by the board members of the Cameroon News and Publishing Corporation, SOPECAM, for 2021. The board members met in Yaoundé Monday for the 64th ordinary session of the corporation under the stewardship of the board chair Joseph Lee. Details with Yoti Kaleli Songe.
A review of 2020 at this 64th ordinary session of the Cameroon News and Publishing Corporation, CPCAM, reveals that it has been a rather challenging year.
The economic, sanitary and social situation of the year 2020 was very difficult. That's why we congratulated the GM and all the staff of CPCAM for their resilience.
In 2021, the staff will need to work harder, especially with the upcoming African Nations Championship.
The budget for 2021 is about 14.3 billion CFA francs. There's a lot to do. So PATYCHOU is a very, very important corporation for the state. We have to print every day Cameroon Tribune and other newspapers.
The board members of CPCAM apart from this meeting upbeat that the corporation will remain at the fore of news coverage at the print media and publishing in Cameroon.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
Health professionals are calling on Cameroonians to continue respecting barrier measures against the spread of the coronavirus as they prepare to celebrate end-of-year feast. According to them, there was an increase in the number of persons tested positive for COVID-19 during the Christmas period. Baldwin Sama is at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center with his guest, Dr. Joseph Fonkam, with updates. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Gladys Tata. These are periods during which we have a lot of gatherings, the Christmas and the New Year celebrations, and we just want to find out from our guest tonight if the recent Christmas celebrations we witnessed any increase in the number of persons tested positive for the COVID-19 in Cameroon. And we discussed that with Dr. Joseph Fonkam, a virologist. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Good evening, Baldi.
With the 2020 Christmas season that just passed, was there any increase in the number of persons tested positive for the coronavirus?
Absolutely, Baldwin. Since the month of October, November, we were around 8% of positivity rate using our PCR assay in Cameroon. And we just realized during this festive period, since the 20th up to the 26th of December, what we are experiencing actually is an increase of the number of positive cases. We had, for example, 13% positivity rate on the 26th of December 2020, meaning there seems to be a sharp increase in the number of new cases. And this is why we really want to call on every Cameroonian to make sure they should go beyond the classical barrier measures like wearing of face masks, using an alcohol-based rub, or maybe 1 meter physical distancing. There is also a strict adherence to non-pharmaceutical interventions, among which avoidance of unnecessary traveling and also avoidance of unnecessary social activities within this period. We really want people to make sure if you stay safe, it's also a best way of spending Christmas, because the New Year beyond will also be a nice time without coronavirus.
Thank you so much, Dr. Joseph Fonkam, for making all those details available. 13% positivity rate on the 26th of December. We are 48 hours to the 1st of January 2021, and we wish to see a drop in the number of persons tested positive for COVID-19. Back to you, Gladys Tata.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama. We hope the message has not fallen into deaf ears. And international observers deployed by the Economic Community of Central African States, ECOWAS, under the instructions of President Idriss Déby Itno, are in the Central African Republic to monitor the presidential and legislative elections. The delegation, headed by former President of Burundi, Sylvester Timbatunganya, is to ensure that the electoral process goes on hitch-free in respect of the Central African Republic's constitutional laws. A special envoy to the Central African Republic is Caroline Oke-Anoma.
90-minute encounter with about 18 journalists from Senegal, Burundi, Rwanda, Congo, and Cameroon, President Faustin Archange Touadéra was not only able to reaffirm his gratitude towards those countries for creating security and institutional conditions to sustainably reduce the presence of threats by armed men, but also secure a transparent and inclusive elections. In a round of questions, the president pointed out his achievements.
Together with the people of Central African Republic, we have worked. We inherited a chaotic and difficult country, but you as journalists had the time to roam in town and listen to what the people are saying.
I asked him, if re-elected, how he intends to tackle the socio-economic and security issues.
We have proposed to relaunch our economy, reevaluate it, and make some adjustments. We will work on security issues, on peace. Our first move was reconciliation, pursue dialogue.
An aspect which is so vital to develop a country that is so vast and so rich in gold, diamond, and many other resources.
And sports in Cameroon was one of the sectors that was greatly affected by the coronavirus pandemic in Cameroon. As a result, all sporting activities were suspended in 2020 in the month of March after the first case of COVID-19 was detected. One of the areas that made headline news was football, which with the power tussle between FECAFOOT and the Professional Football League. Baldwin Sama has more.
It has been an unending Mickey Mouse game between the Professional Football League and the Football Federation this year, an unending tussle that has seen football played more in courtrooms and paper than on the field of play. With the outbreak of the coronavirus pandemic in March this year, the local football championships organized by the Technical Transitional Management Committee were suspended. No football was played for several months. September 14, 2020, the Court of Arbitration for Sports ruled in favor of the Professional Football League against FECAFOOT, giving them the full rights to organize the football championships. FECAFOOT decided to give a deaf ear to this decision as Sports and Physical Education Minister stepped in as a mediator to look for a way forward. The Professional Football League, in her full rights, launched the 2020-2021 football season in November this year, a championship opener between Coton Sport of Garou and Pantheon Day, seen by FECAFOOT as a slap on her face as the executive committee met to describe the match as null and void. Several appeasement calls from FIFA and the powers that be have yielded no fruit, as there has been no championship for several months, leaving many home-based players uncertain as to what the future of the championship reserves for them.
Over in the southwest region, the mascot of the CHAN 2020 in the Republic of Cameroon, Tara, is live in the city of Boya and Limbe. After being officially received by the governor of the southwest region, Bernard Okalia Bilai, Tara has been touring the popular quarters in Boya and Limbe. Walter Wilson Nana reports from CRTV Southwest in Boya.
The sports-loving population of the cities of Boya and Limbe decided to be different and extraordinary in their reception of the mascot of the CHAN 2021 in the Republic of Cameroon, called Tara. After receiving the blessings of the regional authorities of the Southwest region, Tara took to the popular streets of the city of Boya.
Very happy with the ambience and plenty joy in my mind. And I continue to pray, may God bless the people who organize it.
Boya, the caravan of the mascot Tara, moved into the city of Limbe to be received with a lot of pomp, color, ambience, and the commitment to be part of the CHAN 2021, especially the Group D matches that take place in the city of Limbe.
Prepare my taxi, I'll keep it in good condition, so that I'll have carry the passenger to go to the field, to watch the football, it's good.
Tara is now on his way back to the nation's capital, Yaoundé, and the people of the South region can't wait for the African Football Party to take off.
Well, that's where we draw the curtains on this edition. As you heard, categories A, B, C and D civil servants benefit from a presidential decree that harmonizes their retirement ages at 55 and 60. And today's decree of the head of state takes effect from January 1st, 2021. And join us tomorrow for a special edition before the head of state's address to the nation at 8 p.m. That is 31st of December 2020. There will be a special broadcast shift from 7 p.m. And you'll be in the company of Romeo Chisengok at 8:30 for the news in French. Until then, it's bye from all of us on the 7:30 crew. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing